Good afternoon, students. Uh, in the Bhakti movements, the new book, the medieval history, we are going to start. Or the first chapter have been deleted, as you know very well. Accounts, traveling accounts of the Ibn Battuta or other visitors who came to India. That has been deleted, and now we are going to start the today from the Bhakti sects. Understand? So now we know that without the religious beliefs has been the part and parcel of the human society. One of the part and parcel of our society. Understand? From the right from the beginning of the civilization, this kind of the beliefs or the any beliefs, Vedic patterns, Vedic now the Vedic people believed in the Vedic gods and goddesses, the Indra, Agni and Soma. These were the very prominent and special gods and goddesses. And apart from them, others were also the Varuna, the Aditi, the Usha, and others say so many. Or Indra was the one of the important. It means that the Indra and the Agni has been recited in the Vedas many times. Many times they have been recited, and their mantra has been mentioned. And now, and we know very well that Aryans now, first the Aryans believed in not in any statue or the idols worship. No, they worshipped only the nature which and nature controlled, which control their life. They were which nature regulated. Their life regulated through the nature, from dawn to dusk. Their life was regulated, and their economy regulated. Their whatever the earth, Prithvi, now gave them, that became the base of their resources of their survival, resources of their survival. So they now believed in the cosmic power or in the nature. Nature became the very important for the Aryans. Nature, understand? So now here we see that by the passage of the time, understand, many god and goddesses now appear or the emerged. Understand? Or the many beliefs, or the Aryans now believe in the yajna and the rituals and the very difficult Shastras and the Sanskrit was spoken. So these Aryans, the religion, particularly the beliefs, was we can say that it was the elite's belief, upper classes beliefs. Upper classes access was towards the religion. Understand? So now, apart from that, okay, the religion was the very difficult for in the Aryans period, in the Vedic period. Only, okay, the elites class, it was the only concentrated. So now, apart from that, but we know very well that that after the faction in the Buddhism, the first time, okay, in the Kashmir, where the fourth Buddhist council held, or in the fourth Buddhist council, the Buddhism got into the faction. Understand? Split in two parts, Hinayana and the Mahayana. Understand? And the Mahayana began, or as a worshipper of the god, they now believed the Gautam Buddha as a savior, and then from there they started began the worshipping in the form of the icon, or in the form of the in the forms. Understand? The Hinayana Mahayana factions happened. And after that, understand, a tradition of the Buddha's statue or the icons began to be the depicted or the carved out. Understand? So now after the but during the Gupta period, a very strong on the basis of the Puranic god and goddesses and the Puranic stories. Now the two sects emerged very strongly, and these two sects, and particularly in the Hinduism, became the stronger and strengthened during the Gupta period. Understand? Or in the form of the Vishnu and the Shiva, Lord Shiva. Vishnu or Lord Shiva, worship of the Vishnu and the Lord Shiva became the very stronger during this time. Means the Hinduism flourished during the Gupta period. Now students, we are going to study here. Now we shall start, but the right from the 8th century to the 18th century, a new religious zeal or the enthusiasm emerged, not only in the Islam, in a form of the Sufi movement, not only in the form of Sufi, but most resembled to Sufi, in the Bhakti movements began in India. Although the Bhakti, the elements and the traits of the Bhakti existed, its element existed in the Purana, or even in the Upanishad and the Purana. Understand? Moreover, it's a Bhakti sense or the Bhakti philosophical elements were hidden in the Buddhism and the Jainism also. Understand? Many elements of the Bhakti sense were existing in the Buddhism, and we know very well that Buddhism and Jainism was the great and big challenge against the Vedic rituals. Or the Vedic rituals or the Vedas and Vedic religion that which emphasized on what? Emphasized on the birth. Importance of the birth was given there. Value of the birth, not the value of the karma. But we know that the Buddhism and the Mahavir and the Gautam Buddha now emphasized on the teachings of the karma. Karma, no birth, no janma. A man is great by the karma. Understand? The caste values and caste importance was neglected. Understand? So gradually, many of the Bhakti elements, or even right from the 8th century, and after the decline, we know that Harshvardhan was the last ruler of the northern India, last great ruler of the northern India, Harshvardhan. The right from Harshvardhan, understand? Harshvardhan and his fall happened, and after that the religion, the post Harsha, the Bhakti movement began emerging right from the Shankaradev, Acharya Shankardev. He can be the called as the Renaissance of the Bhakti saints. Renaissance of the Bhakti saints. We can, because he was the beginner. He now started. Understand? So he was just like the 19th century. Raja Ram Mohan Rai is supposed to be the pioneer of the modern India, pioneer of the reform, social reform. So similarly, he can be the Shankaracharya, may be termed and can be termed as the pioneer of the Bhakti movements. Understand? So he now give a new torch to the Bhakti saints, and those Bhakti saints completely, these Bhaktis now emphasized on the individual, their individual god and goddesses, and the Bhakti there. And in this Bhakti movement, now there was no any mediators. It means that there was no role of the priest. There was no any yajna. There was no any room for the sacrifices. There was no any room for the caste distinction. Understand? Everything or only through the individual love and devotions one could and can understand, assimilate himself or herself with the God, make the union with the God, make the and can the make the union between the God and goddess. Understand? So these bhakti saints love, and there were so many routes to reach their individual God, their Isht Deva. Everyone has the route of their own roots. So a galaxy of the bhakti saints now have emerged right from the 8th century to the 18th century. Understand? Or these saints now enrich the new sense of the believers and the beliefs that was called as the bhakti movements. Understand? So now we are students from 8th to 18th century period was a period of now development of the religious traditions. Now between that a new traditions develop in the religious order right from Vedic age. Understand? And religious and during this period several remarkable changes occurred in the prevalent religious beliefs, or right from the 8th century till the 18th century several changes happens. Many of the religious changes now happened, or here is the we can see that significant traditions now like that of the Bhakti and the Sufi are the Bhakti and Sufi. I have recited you many times. Bhakti and Sufi, this emerged one of that. Now let's see what the trend was of post Harsa. I have written here the post Harsa changes. It means that after the decline of the Harshvardhan, what the changes happened in the religious way or in the religion, growth of Hinduism during this period. Understand? In the post Harsha, after the Harshvardhana, understand the death of the Harshvardhana right from 8th century or till the 18th century. First step we see that the growth of Hinduism grew during this period very rapidly, or Hinduism reached its climax, and now Hinduism got its climax post during this period, or now states of the Vedic deities started undergoing. One thing is that till now, till the Harshvardhana, understand, the Vedic deities were very important, and suppose and the reward right from Vedic, the Vedic deities were now dominating. Understand? Although during the Gupta period, Hinduism emerged in a new form, like the Vishnu and the Shiva began to be the worship on a large scale. Many temples began to be the form. Their statue of the Vishnu began to be the form. Understand? Many of the instances we have in the history. But apart from that, here is the particularly the Vedic deities began to be the form there, and the rapid changes occurred. Means the Vedic deities now got their declinations, and moreover new deities in place of the old deities started getting recognitions. Now old deities got declined, understand, and the new deities got their importance, and the identities of the new deities began to be the emerged, and the theist tendencies started growing in the Buddhism. One thing is that Buddhism also gone through many changes. Particularly Buddhism underwent many changes. Understand? Now the first changes we saw in the fourth Buddhist council, which held at the Kashmir during the reign of or during the period of the Kanishka, great king, Kushana dynasty king Kanishka. Understand? So now here we see the growth of the Vajrayana. Understand? So in this theist tendency started growing in Buddhism. Theist tendency. I am talking about the theist tendency grew in. It means that the Buddhists were the atheists. Understand? Never believed in the God and goddesses. They were the atheists. Understand? Not believe in the God and goddesses. But the tendency of the theist changed in the Buddhism. And Buddhism now inclined. Buddhist believers now they bent towards the theistic approach. It means that they will begin to believe in the God and goddesses. The Buddha began to be the worship as a god, and the others Tara emerged as a goddesses like the Shankar and Parvati. Similarly, the Bodhisattva and the Tara, understand, as a wife. Understand? Now emerged in the theistic view of the Buddhism. Okay, further here we see first let's focus on the Vajrayana. The Vajrayana, Vajra means the strong. Vajra means the strong and strong shield. Buddhism now experienced the new phase of the religious philosophy, the post-Harsa period. Vajrayana began to gain the grow in Buddhism. Vajrayana, the views of the Vajrayana, this cult became the very strong in the Buddhism. And moreover, Buddha can be the worshipped, or these Vajrayanists believe that the Buddha came to be the worshipped. They started Vajrayanists started the worshipping the Gautam Buddha. Lord Buddha began to be the worshipped, like the through the devotional song and what the rituals, what they adopted. For this, they started by the song. He was worshipped by the through the devotional songs began to be the sang, began to be sung in front of him, and the rites and ceremonies taking him for the incarnation of the incarnation of the God, and he is supposed to be a part of incarnation, avatars. Avatar, like the Vishnu avatar, we have like the Buddha was also termed as the avatara. Understand? Avatara. And moreover, Vajrayana was influenced by the tantric ideals also. The tantric ideals, a very common. The Buddhism began to be the get down at the very common level. Tantric, according to the Vajrayana, Buddha was a Vajra Guru. Vajra Guru, Buddha was vested with the divine powers. Buddha began to be considered as a Vajra Guru. Vajra Guru, Gautam Buddha began to be considered as a Vajra Guru, or the vested with divine powers. Now the Buddha inherited the miracle power, the divine power, and therefore it was the duties of the Buddhist to achieve the divine power. So now it was the duty of all the Buddhists to achieve the divine powers by the worship to the Vajra Guru, by the worship of the Gautam Buddha, and like their Guru through the mysticism, or this was to be the achieved through the mysticism. Understand? This was to be the achieved through the mysticism. And moreover, many of the ultimately, consequently, a number of dogmas, a number of superstitions and dogmas enter into the Buddhism. Many dogmas and trauma, understand, or evils enter into the Buddhism. and Buddhist came under the influence of superstitions, and this cult developed in the particularly this kind of the Vajrayana cult developed in the particularly in the Bihar and the Bengal. Understand? And the worship of this Shakti became to be the became to be the just propagated with the Buddhism in the Buddhism. Shakti, the Shakti, the propagation of the Shakti began to be the propagated within the fold of the Buddhism, and this Buddhism and the Tara, and moreover the Shakti, the ideas of the Shaktis, understand, or the element of the Shakti enter into the Buddhism, understand. Shakti means the worship to the goddess, understand. So now this worship, this cult developing the particularly the worship of the Shakti began to be the propagated by the in the Buddhism. Tara, or the savior Tara spouses of the male Bodhisattva. Tara is shown in this spouses with the male Bodhisattva. Understand? As a wife, Bodhisattva wife, and they received a veneration as that of the Shakti, and she received as a veneration as a Shakti. To understand, to show the Shakti and Shakt, Tantrism also enter in the Buddhism. Idol worship enter into the Buddhism, like the Hinduism, similar to the Hinduism, like the and Tantrism, Shakti, worship of the Shakti, and the statue worship, idol worship. These all and the rituals by the singing songs and the other rituals and the worship enter in the Buddhism also. So now these were the one of the reason for the decline and downfall of the Buddhism. Because why? Because Buddhism was going very clearly close to the Hinduism. It was not in the any sense similar to any sense differ from the Hinduism. Now you can say that the Gautam Buddha criticized and condemned those rituals. Understand? And those rituals and the Buddha had emerged, this religion has emerged by the condemning those rituals and the evils. Understand? By condemning. Even then, those rituals begin to be adopted by the Vajrayana. Understand? So as a result, what happened? This now led further declination of the Buddhism in India. Okay? So this process was going on or in the progress in our Indian society. Okay? Or in the particularly in the religious field. Next, let's come to the Jainism. Now we know very well, I have already taught about the Mahavira, or a great austerity. A austerity or a penance was the part of the austerity, celibacy, penance. It was this way, or the ahimsa, non-violence. These were the part and parcel of the Jainism. We know very well. Or the achieving the salvation. Okay, the Jainism now went a tougher way. Understand? And a toughest way, we can say, not in tougher, toughest way. And it was not possible for a commoners to achieve and to follow the Buddhism, to follow the Jainism, to achieve the salvation. It was not easy task, because it was completely, Jainism was based on the hard penance, austerity, and moreover the celibacy, and it was not possible. It was a quite far from the common man's access, common man's possibilities. It was a far from a possibility of common man's. Understand? So we see that, but that is why the Jainism, after the decline or after the death of the Mahavira, later on, this religion only centered and could not make its mark or the broader mark abroad, make its abroad, mark its abroad like the Buddhism, but only it confined and centered amongst the certain community of our country, certain business community of our country, and centered in the Gujarat and the Rajasthan only centered, and the some part of the Karnataka. Understand? In southern India, it's had the certain approach, certain believers are there. Understand? So this religion became the very confined, or Jainism became the highly popular among the trading class, particularly this Jainism is particularly very much popular among the trading and businessman class and the northern Indian, western India, and it's also received royal patron in the southern India. And one thing is that this all religion to which we am talking about that what's their prominence and the got the patron under the court of in the court of all the southern Indian kings, particularly in the Deccan kings or in the deep southern kings and northern Indian kings, under their courts and the darbaras. This religion got the in the Gujarat and Rajasthan became important centers of the Jainism, particularly in the Gujarat and the Rajasthan, where the prominent centers of that Mulraj, a Chalukya king, Mulraj, a Chalukya king of the Anilwada, was the follower of the Jainism. Mulraj, many of the king had adopted, they gave the patron to this religion, and as well as they adopted this religion also. The Mulraj, Chalukya king of the Anilwada, was a follower of Jainism, a minister of Bhima, King Bhima. His minister, another ruler of the dynasty, built a temple. This Chalukya dynasty, King Bhim, his minister, built a temple, Swami Adinath, at the Mount Abu. Mount Abu is supposed to be the center of Jainism. Understand? So where a temple was, a very big temple was got constructed by the minister of the Chalukya king Bhim. Understand? And moreover, many Jain temples were built. Many Jain temples were built. Temples were built of the places like the Satrunjay and the Girnar in the Kathiawar. In Kathiawar, the Girnar, many temples were got constructed. The Ganga dynasty, the Ganga Chalukya were of the different kinds. In the Deccan area, they ruled Chalukya dynasty, and it had the different clans, and they were divided into. So the Ganga Chalukya or the Rashtrakutas, ruler in the southern India, provided the very respectable position to the Jains. They provided a very respectful position to the Jains. Understand? Believers of the Jains. This was the. And moreover, here we can see Chalukya king of the Kalyani. Next Chalukya king was the Kalyani. Chalukyas had the many centers. Understand? This dynasty had. Understand? Anilwada or the Gang, Anilwada or the Kalyani, Hoysal king of the Dwar Samudra kings of Hoysal were the patrons of Jains. These all kings now gave the patronage to the king, and consequently many Jain Basadis, means the temples. Basadis were got constructed, and now Mahastambha were built in the different parts of the country. During this, Mahastambha were also built as a mark of the mark of this religion. Understand? And a colossal image was installed at the Shravan Belgola. Very important. This place is very important because the Chandragupta Maurya, he was believer, he was a Jain. Understand? or last time he took his last breath, his own, by the samadhi he died there. Chandragupta Maurya. Understand? The Shravan Belgula is the very important place for the Jains. Or ultimately Chandragupta Maurya believed in the Jainism, or he was believer of that, or ultimately it is said that he now he willingly he got death there. Understand? In Karnataka. Okay, Shravan Belgula. So this is the very important temples is there. And now the Jain doctrines of the four gifts. The four gifts, they are Jain doctrines. Believe give the four gifts of the learning. Four gifts they had believed that. First, learning. Second, food. Third, medicine. Fourth, shelter. What? Learning, food, medicine and the shelter made a valuable contribution. It was a valuable contribution in promoting the popularity of this religion. Means the shelter, medicine, food and learning. These were the four gifts of the Jainism. That's this religion got the very importance in the Jain Acharya produced the many texts. We can find if you go through the history, many Jain literature had been composed by these Jain Acharyas. Understand? These Acharya scholars, they had written or they compiled the many or enriched our literatures. Many in the Sanskrit, in the Pali, in the Prakrit, many languages. In different languages, the Jain scholars have compiled this, and Kannada, Prakrit, and in other language also. And moreover, we can see next the Tantricism. And now this is the one other Tantri originated during the 6th century, but started getting the popularity from the 8th century. This Tantricism particularly this emerged in the northwest frontiers, northeast frontiers around that. Seven sister states, Bengal, and as well as the huge impact of this our Tantrism is said to be from the Tibetan tradition. From the Tibet, Tantrism came from the Tibet, and it influenced the here in around the northeast frontiers, mean the seven sister states and the Bengal and Assam, Bengal. These were the main center of the tantric beliefs. Okay, and moreover, apart from it spread in the particularly the northeastern India. Okay, so now I suppose that our time is becoming up. Okay, in the next further period we shall meet again and discuss about the Tantricism. I will start it later on. We shall focus upon that. Okay, so you see, it is the beginning of that. Then after we shall go through our course. Okay, so let's the Bhakti movement, and I hope that you will start your reading that chapter well. Okay, later on. Thank you very much for attending the